Donald Trump spoke to the New York Times yesterday, and he pulled a classic Richard Nixon. So they explain here. Mr. Trump brushed aside questions about conflicts arising from his business dealings, declaring that the law's totally on my side. The president can't have a conflict of interest. Wait, what? So people are bringing up, and we covered this on the show yesterday, he filed like 8 new businesses, registered 8 new businesses in Saudi Arabia during the campaign. What? And then not to mention there were some in Indonesia and some elsewhere, and he's got business dealings everywhere. I mean, Dubai is a golf course in Dubai. He's got 1,000,001 things all around the world. Now, again, for a normal person, for a private citizen, you go, okay, there should be regulations on that stuff, but I guess we can allow it. That's fine. No, but he's running to be president of the United States, and he got it. He's president-elect. He's going to be president of the United States. Why is that not okay for him? Well, for obvious conflict of interest reasons. Everybody rightly went after Hillary Clinton for the Clinton Foundation because they go, hold on now, we're supposed to believe you're going to make smart, objective policy about Qatar or Saudi Arabia when they've given your foundation millions and millions of dollars. No, you're going to look the other way as they do human rights abuses, and you're going to arm them. Well, it's the same thing with Donald Trump. He can say whatever he wants to say, but he's got business interests in Saudi Arabia. He's not going to do anything to crack down on them. Why would he do that? It would threaten his own bottom line. So that's a conflict of interest. And Donald Trump himself ripped Hillary Clinton for that. And again, rightly so. But now he's guilty of the same goddamn thing. And then he turns around when he's called out about that. Hey, man, people feel a little iffy about these connections that you have. I'm going to repeat it. He says, the law is totally on my side. The president can't have a conflict of interest. So in other words, it's Richard Nixon 101. When the president does it, it's not illegal. Yeah, it is. That's kind of the whole idea of law. Nobody's above the law. That's a classic authoritarian thing to say, an authoritarian thing to believe. But most authoritarians are smart enough to not let that cat out of the bag, to let people know what their philosophy really is. Trump's like, yeah, anyway, like I was saying, if I do it, it's not illegal. Tremendous, believe me. Let me just tell you. Oh, this is so sad. Look, I just gave Trump credit earlier in this show because he's backpedaling on his repeated insistence on the campaign trail that we should torture. He said, yeah, look, I spoke to an expert, and the expert was like, it's not effective. Give me some beer, give me some cigarettes, let me undermine their ideology, and I'll get better answers that way. Credit to him for that. Credit to him for saying there's some connection between human activity and climate change now. So he's acknowledging it's real, which is a step in the right direction from it's a Chinese hoax. And he's saying there's some connection. Now, he still looks like he's going to dismantle the Paris Agreement, so the praise only goes so far on that front. Because your policy actually matters more than anything else, more than what you say. But still, I gave him credit earlier in the show because on some issues, he's going, okay, let me inch slowly but surely in a more reasonable direction. This is the opposite. Here, it is a disaster, and this kind of verifies exactly what we thought Trump was about. How he's kind of this impulsive, thin-skinned, narcissistic, authoritarian character. Well, when you just come out and say it in an interview like that, the law's totally on my side, even though it's not, and the president can't have a conflict of interest. Well, people should be very concerned about that, because on the civil liberties front, that's where I think, I mean, don't get me wrong, Obama's been a disaster like the NSA. He beefed up NSA spying. Horrendous. And this is why we were screaming at him all along. Some partisan Democrats said, yeah, but we trust Obama with those powers. Do you trust the next guy with them? Now, I don't trust Obama with those powers. I don't trust anybody with those powers. But some partisan Democrats were like, well, look, at least it's Obama. He's a reasonable dude. He's not going to use it for crazy shit. Well, now he's passing off these powers to a guy who just said when the president does it, it's not illegal. So you don't think he's going to use the NSA for his own personal reasons? You don't think he's going to crack down on political opponents? He's already gone on multiple tweet storms against the media. He berated the media. He called the media over to berate them to their face the other day. Dude, you're the president. We got the First Amendment. We got the Constitution. That's not a dynamic that exists. You don't get to talk down to them. You're not their boss. But we have an authoritarian-leaning president who wants to crack down on the media, who says, hey, when I have conflicts of interest, they're not conflicts of interest by definition because I'm me, I'm the president, I have power. He is going to let the power go to his head, and we need to guard against it. I'm of the Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren school of thought on Donald Trump. On issues where he's seemingly going to do the right thing, he kept hitting TPP, looks like he wants to get rid of TPP. I will stand in solidarity right alongside you, son. You want to do an infrastructure project? I'm down. So I would work with him when he's right about stuff, because that's the reasonable thing to do. But when he's wrong about stuff, not only would I not give an inch, I wouldn't give a centimeter, I wouldn't give a millimeter. And I would go to the press and I would go after him ruthlessly and viciously and fiercely. And I'd rip his face off in areas where not only where he's wrong, but where he also fundamentally misunderstands the American system and the Constitution.